They'll probably cut this bit.
A minute's silence for a great titan of British politics.
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Clive Myrie. In the news this week, in Glasgow, after 7 hours of intense police questioning, Nicola Sturgeon insists she's absolutely fine to go ahead with her driving lesson. After being found by the House of Commons committee to have lied repeatedly, Boris Johnson takes the opportunity to deny that he's ever been jogging or that he has a dog. And in Essex, James Cleverly and a group of Tory spads prepare for the staff summer barbecue after learning Nadine Dorries is already on her 4th bottle of Lambrini. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian who, when asked recently how he would describe himself in 3 words, said, bends the rules. Now, if he had used 4 words, I'd have believed him. Please welcome Munya Chawawa. And on Paul's team tonight is a current affairs commentator whose job is to constantly monitor the British political scene, which presumably means she hasn't slept since last Friday. Please welcome Helen Lewis. Now, there have been so many big news stories since we were last on air. The only way to cover all that is with our ignominiometer of news. Ian, you get first spin.
Well, this round should be reasons to be cheerful. Yes, it's been a terrific day. The sun's out and so's he. The Privilege Committee have found that Boris Johnson did deliberately lie. He lied at the time to the Commons, he lied about lying later, he lied about whether he'd lied about the lying. He lied at every point and he ended up calling the committee liars. And then he got a terrific tantrum. Said it was a witch hunt, which it isn't if you are a witch, you know. And everyone has behaved incredibly badly except himself. But he's gone. He's gone. Helen, you're looking.
But he's here tonight! Is he not coming on?
Yes, no, he's not coming, he's not. This is the news that the Parliamentary Privileges Committee has found Boris Johnson deliberately misled the Commons about lockdown gatherings and then deliberately attempted to mislead the committee looking into it. So what penalty would they have recommended had Boris Johnson not resigned?
This was the disappointing bit, wasn't it? Because I thought it was life imprisonment.
There was a brilliant tweet from one of his supporters, James Dudridge, that said, what do people want? Do they want him put in the stocks? Do they want people pelting him with rotten eggs? And you thought, I mean, why ask a question? Do you want to know the answer? He would have got a 90-day suspension from the Commons, although they might now take away his free pass to the parliamentary estate, which you're normally entitled to as an MP. So he won't be able to get reduced price canteen food.
They did recommend a 90-day suspension. Now, this is the longest since the Labour MP Keith Vass was suspended for 6 months for offering to buy cocaine for male sex workers while posing as an industrial washing machine salesman. But who hasn't done that?
What are you saying, Clive? But the 90 days was increased from 20, wasn't it, because of the way he had attacked the committee once he'd got the, advanced copy of it last week?
Yeah, he went into full Trump mode.
Yes.
You know, I was surprised his supporters weren't wearing antlers and outside the House of Commons storming it with AK-47s.
At least with 90 days, you can have 1 day of quality time per child.
As the report was finally published on Thursday morning, Rishi Sunak was putting on a brave face, but look what he was wearing.
The sad thing about this is it's kind of crashed into the back of the other story, which we didn't even get to deal with, his mad resignation honours list. So I don't think we had the full time to be outraged
Oh,
about.
Helen, don't worry.
Oh,
We've
good.
got plenty of time. Plenty of
I
time.
mean, there is a coterie of weirdness about him, isn't there? The people that sort of like, you know, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Nadine Dorris, Michael Fabricant. It's like the human version of the Muppets.
And the interesting thing, the two stories do coincide because you wake up this morning and the only people who are defending Boris are the people who he gave an honour 3 days ago. There is a case, I think, for suggesting that the political honours that he gave out should all be nulled.
Which, above anything else, very funny. Very funny.
What did Mr Johnson say when he resigned as an MP last week?
This was the kangaroo court, was it? Was that the line at the time?
I don't know what a kangaroo court is, but whenever I hear it, I feel like he's hinting that he's going to be on I'm a Celeb next year.
Is it a court run by kangaroos or
Yeah.
one that judges kangaroos?
It's a bit like sheepdog trials. I went along once and 3 were guilty.
He said, I did not lie, and I believe in their hearts the committee know it. He also said, I am bewildered and appalled that I can be forced out anti-democratically by a committee chaired and managed by Harriet Harman with such egregious bias. But what undermines this accusation?
There's 7 people and 4 of them are Tories. So even if Harriet Harman wasn't on the committee, he would still have been found guilty. I mean, some of them are Brexiteers. Everybody thinks he's guilty. Apart from Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nadine Dorris, and they're bonkers.
She hasn't resigned. She said she was going to resign, and that was a week ago. Yeah. Nadine?
Yes. Well, you see, Boris promised her a peerage. Another woman, he told a load of lies.
Well, she's tweeted that she was waiting to get answers about why her peerage didn't happen.
I think she's very confused because there is a process which, if nobody wants you to become a peer, you don't become one.
Let's remind ourselves of the reaction of members of the public to previous events in Johnson's parliamentary career. Now, this was in 2019 during debates on the Brexit deal.
My name's Sophie, I work for Sky News. We're just here in Uxbridge today, Boris Johnson's constituency.
Don't you ever mention that name in front of me, that filthy piece of toe rag.
This was after his resignation as Prime Minister last year.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry to disturb. I'm from BBC Newsnight. Just wondering what you think about Boris Johnson resigning today.
I want him to go. He's a pain in the arse.
And this was the reaction of the Radio 4 Any Questions audience this week.
I do want to bring you some news that's just broken on Friday evening, which is that Boris Johnson has resigned as an MP with immediate effect. And we only have...
Thank you. It's very heartwarming. Like Winston Churchill, he is a great unifying figure.
Can I be honest? I feel like it's a bit like England in football tournaments, because I don't believe he's gone for good. You know, it's like with England, we always think they're going to win, everyone gets excited, and then at the last minute, we lose, and I've got a flare stuck up my bum. So I feel like this is very similar with... Don't you know what I mean, Clive? We've all been there. Look. That's how I feel like I don't know if this is the end of Boris.
Well...
Yeah, well, it's a depressing thought, and I would say carpe diem. I'm just enjoy today. Because if he's back again... I mean, Matthew Paris once wrote that we don't know Boris is dead until you put a stake through his heart. But I think this may metaphorically be the day.
What exciting opportunity has been offered Boris Johnson since he resigned?
OnlyFans.
What's that?
You won't be laughing when he's making more than his Telegraph columnist salary selling pictures of his feet.
Yo, why did it have to be his feet?
It's always his feet on
You had a
OnlyFans.
specific vision in mind there.
The heart wants what it wants, mate.
Nigel Farage has suggested teaming up with Boris Johnson to form a new party. According to The Guardian, Farage claimed up to 10 sitting Tories could join them. Wow, said the Lib Dems. According to BBC's Chris Mason, what's Boris Johnson got left?
Well, he hasn't got any friends. Children don't like him.
The political editor of the BBC said, in terms of parliamentary support, Boris Johnson only has a shrivelled rump.
Oh. Everything Johnson touches turns really to shit, really. And, you know, the honours system is the last of them. Normally, we go through the honours list looking for people who are dodgy. This year, we went through looking for anyone who wasn't. I mean, the people he gave honours. There was a bloke called Party Marty. I wonder what he was in charge of.
This is Martin Reynolds, better known as Party Marty. Former principal private secretary, he wrote the infamous email to Downing Street staff during lockdown suggesting drinks and signing off, bring your own booze. Afterwards, he told a colleague, we seem to have got away with it.
My favourite of all the honours is the one for the parliamentary hairdresser, the one who did Boris Johnson's hair. She got an MBE. Imagine what she could have got if she'd been any good.
Michael Fabricant is now...
Well, he hasn't got a hairdresser,
Let's
has
have
he?
a look at him.
No, this can't be real. This can't be.
I also feel a bit sorry for all the women on the list because they're going to walk around for the rest of their lives with everyone assuming that they shagged him. I felt bad about that until I remembered that they're on Boris Johnson's resignation honours list, so they have no capacity to feel embarrassment.
Well, what has proved controversial about the honour awarded to Charlotte Owen?
She's 29 years old. So 6 years ago, she was an intern. Now she's going to make our laws for the next half-century.
She's the youngest peer ever appointed, isn't she?
Yeah.
No one knows why she has got this honour. She's only 29, and she has served less than 2 years in the policy unit at number 10.
Did she do the least damage of anyone there?
Anyone know why Boris Johnson might have given her one? Given her a peerage. That is what I
You'll
do.
remember you were there for the end of Clive Myrie's career.
Yeah.
Or the beginning of a new rise.
There was another big select committee this week, and it was the grilling of ITV bosses over the Philip Schofield business. What was the most embarrassing question they had to deal with?
Who is Philip Schofield?
Is Boris Johnson taking over this morning? Is it going to be him and Holly? In a year's time, she can say, he lied to me.
That was a really good impression, actually. I thought that was Holly Willoughby, I really did.
ITV boss Kevin Ligo was asked at this committee, is it true that the production team on This Morning referred to their audience as Tower Block Tracy? Oh. I wonder what they'd call the audience of this show. This is the news that the Parliamentary Privileges Committee has found that Boris Johnson deliberately misled the Commons. Amidst all the chaos and political machinations, Rishi Sunak has proved himself an extremely capable Prime Minister, one could almost say statesmanlike, if one in return was called, I don't know, Lord Myrie of Kensington. Boris Johnson has given a knighthood to his loyal supporter, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Usually the only gong he gets excited about is the one Nanny strikes to say his fish fingers are ready. Boris Johnson's resignation honours list has caused massive controversy. Could have been worse. His first draft included Lord Schofield. Also receiving an honour is Tory MP Conor Burns, who famously walked in on Boris in a compromising situation in the Foreign Office. He's now to receive a knighthood, so will soon be adopting a similar position to the one he found Carrie in.
Are you looking to move on from your current position on the BBC?
Right, Paul, time for your spin on the ignominiometer of news.
It's Donald Trump. And the case is about to start because he's been accused, shall we say, of removing a lot of documents from the White House at the end of his presidency. One lawyer said that he's in serious trouble because essentially they've got evidence of him admitting that he was doing it and he knew he shouldn't have done it.
Bang on. He appeared in court in Miami this week, the first ever president to face federal charges for mishandling classified documents and lying to investigators. There are pictures of boxes of documents in Trump's residences, specifically in the bathrooms.
Oh, wow. That is a flex, though. Imagine being able to walk out and be like, give it 5 minutes, classified.
He is repentant, unrepentant. I'll do that again.
Yes.
Never mind that.
Yeah.
He is unrepentant.
Oh, I thought he was repentant.
Yeah? No. Here's his speech.
Giving both sides of the story.
That's right. That's right. Here he is with his speech after his court appearance.
Yes.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Oh, I hadn't seen that. That's great.
Why would they want to do that?
It's like he's doing an impression of himself.
It's a bad impression of himself.
Yeah.
With a touch of Jerry Lewis in there.
I didn't do anything.
He may have been watching Alan Partridge.
I've got access to the kids, but they don't want to see me.
Remember the Speaker of the House, guy called Kevin McCarthy? He's so useless, it took him 15 ballots to get elected. How did he defend Trump over these photos? Let's have a look.
Was that a good look for the former president to have boxes in a bathroom?
I don't know. Is it a good picture to have boxes in a garage that opens up all the time? A bathroom door locks.
I can't help thinking Trump was just trying to save on toilet paper.
All the way along, though, people knew that it was wrong. So there's an American rocker called Kid Rock, who's sort of one of those kind of like, you know, bandanas and power chords. And he gave an interview where he was like, yeah, he showed me all these secret maps. And then he said, what should I do about North Korea? And Kid Rock went, I don't think you should be asking me this, mate.
Jack Smith is the prosecutor who's brought these charges against Trump. His official title is Special Investigative Counsel of the Department of Justice. What does Trump call him?
Normally does nicknames on people's names, doesn't he?
Knackers Jack.
Oh, Americans familiar with the word knackers. We don't know, Clive, tell us.
Don't know? I'll tell you what he calls him.
Yeah.
He calls him a deranged psycho. He's having real trouble recruiting lawyers, but one of them is called Boris Epstein.
Oh, Lord. That is losing the name lottery.
Nice to be able to try out my Sean Connery impression. Epstein.
Not as good as his Holly Willoughby.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you tried it after that.
Are you okay?
He's done it again! He's done it again!
Why would Trump want to keep the documents in the first place? That's what's slightly bemusing, isn't it?
I saw him say that he hadn't had time to get through them all because he'd been playing golf.
Was it to show them off to Kid Rock and other who I know a lot about?
Yeah,
obviously.
don't act like that.
Apparently, it's simply because he thinks they're his. According to the indictment, he told one of his lawyers, I don't want anybody looking. I don't want anybody looking through my boxes. I really don't. I don't want you looking through my boxes. All right already. What's to stop Trump claiming that these documents weren't classified because he had declassified them when he was president?
Are you allowed to do that as president? You just say, it's up to me.
That's what he claimed. He said in one interview a little while ago that all he had to do was think that they were unclassified and they immediately became unclassified.
Oh, right, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
A journalist and publisher met him to discuss a book they were writing, and they recorded the meeting. Now, according to The Guardian, Trump brought up secret documents multiple times, including showing those present a classified plan of attack against foreign country A. Possibly Iran.
Oh, wow. No, it must be Australia, surely.
I love the idea that's the American classification system. Foreign country A.
This led to a conversation between Trump and a staffer discussing that he was holding on to classified documents. Trump said, see, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, you know, but this is still a secret. Then, on the recording, there is a rustling of papers, and Trump says, secret, this is secret information. Look at this.
Oh, my God.
So what might be Mr. Trump planning now?
Maybe he's working with Netflix to introduce Orange is the New Orange. I saw this video on YouTube of some MAGA supporters, and they were saying that they believe that this whole thing is a movie and that Joe Biden is being played by an actor. And honestly, if you do look at Joe Biden really closely, he does look a little bit like Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm trying to see it.
What papers do you read, man?
No, this is on YouTube. This is
YouTube.
This is proper news, Clive.
Yeah.
Get with it. Not the dead tree press. Where have you been?
All right, I know.
Well, I was watching TikTok and...
Well, of course you were, Holly. This is one of the 7 active legal cases currently facing Donald Trump. 7. Trump supporters gathered outside the courthouse, including this man. Unfortunately for him, that's his lawyer. At the courthouse, Trump had his prints taken, which were then run through the FBI computer to check for outstanding arrest warrants, at which point the machine exploded. Munya, here's the ignominy-ometer of news.
All right, Silvio Berlusconi, old Scony. So he had quite the career, and he's now gone to join the Bunga Bunga party in the sky. I was quite worried because when I heard that a rich white guy who'd allegedly had sex with a minor was dead, I thought, for God's sake, not another royal funeral. But
Can I ask a question that's been bothering me now for literal decades?
Yeah.
What is Bunga Bunga? Is it something one has or something one does?
Very good question. Any ideas?
it's something one does, but I only know that from reading.
Spoken like you're at the Commons Privileges Committee.
OK, let's look back over his career. So, fingers on the buzzers, team.
Yeah.
Bring the lights down. Whoa, hang on a second. This isn't going to work, is it? Because we can't see the bloody buzzers. The light's gone down.
And isn't it usually one person when you do it?
What do you mean, one person?
Mastermind.
Or Bunga Bunga.
What did Berlusconi find out while he was hosting a UN conference on organised crime in Naples?
He was in charge of it.
You're not too far away, actually. While hosting the...
He was in charge of it.
Yeah, while hosting the UN conference on organised crime, he was informed that he was under investigation for bribing the tax police. Here's a picture taken in 2004. OK, now, what is on Berlusconi's head?
It's a hair transplant under there.
I thought you were going to ask, what's his left hand doing?
The bandana was to cover a recent hair transplant, Helen. You were right.
He was an extraordinary figure, and the only person who, when he died, said what a brilliant person he was Putin.
Yes.
Which is probably a measure of the man.
Mm-hmm.
Here they are together.
Is that his hair after the transplant?
Now, here's Berlusconi arriving at a NATO summit in Germany. What happens next?
The picture starts moving.
He gets out the car and stays on the phone and does away with international protocol by failing to greet Angela Merkel.
Because he's on the phone.
Yeah.
Because he's on the phone.
He's very, very rude.
Yeah, he
Bang
waved her
on.
away.
Yes. Let's see the footage. This is the death of Silvio Berlusconi. Tony Blair famously stayed at Berlusconi's luxury villa in Sardinia, according to The Independent. Sherry Blair described her evening at Silvio's villa as the best of her life. though Tony was less happy about the threesome.
It's goodbye, Clive, isn't it, really?
One profile of Berlusconi in The Times said his facial skin looks waxed, powdered, and pulled in all directions, with the wrinkles around his eyes ironed out. And that was before the undertaker started work on him. One girl that Berlusconi was accused of having an illicit affair with was an exotic dancer called Ruby the Heart Stealer. A more honest nickname than Jennifer the IT consultant. Helen, here's your spin on the ignominyometer of news.
I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say that's Nicola Sturgeon.
Yeah, you might be right there. You might be right.
She was arrested on Sunday. And the best thing about that was on Saturday she passed her driving theory test and she didn't get a very good score on hazard perception. Humsey Youth, he had come on TV and said, I think she's the best political leader of her generation. And then instead of suspending her from the party, he sent her flowers. He sent her, I'm sorry you've been arrested, flowers. And all of this is about whether or not there was embezzlement in the SNP party funds and used to spend on a motorhome, which made me think, you are a motorhome expert.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Were you to embezzle party funds to buy a motorhome?
I would certainly do that, yeah.
Is that the one that you buy?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was very, very comfortable in its price range. And,
On Sunday, Sturgeon was questioned by police for 7 hours, presumably as she refused to give a straight answer to the question, how will an independent Scotland fund itself when the oil runs out? Who's certain that Sturgeon will be cleared?
She is, and her husband.
Yeah, but also the ex-SNP communications chief, Murray Foote, who stood down after a row over inflated members' numbers. He said he was so certain there will be no charges after the investigation that he was prepared to bet £5 on it. Wow. Don't spend it all at once, Murray. According to The Times, following their former leader's arrest, the SNP agreed to send Nicola Sturgeon some flowers, though eyebrows were raised when the new party treasurer produced a handwritten florist receipt for £600,000. Now, here's a bonus spin on the ignominyometer of news.
Flakes.
Flakes, yes.
oh, that was last week's story.
Was it?
What about crumbling flakes not standing up to the new flakes that are coming along and they're all crumbly and people have to put them crumbling on top of their ice cream instead of sticking them in like that?
This is an ongoing issue. The flake was once advertised as the crumbliest, flakiest chocolate.
Yeah.
But why are ice cream van owners now steering clear?
It's too crumbly. They've changed the recipe. You open up the box of flakes and it's just all loads of crumbly bits.
All right, smart ass. Where's the production now?
What do you mean, smart ass?
Come on.
You host a show where you try and sort of get intelligent people asking questions. What do you say? Oh, smart ass, you got 12 out of 12.
Yeah, special subject, smart horse.
Yeah. Sheffield.
No, Egypt.
Egypt?
Egypt. Abroad. Yeah, they make it abroad.
Yeah.
And it's too damn flaky now. That's the problem.
So you've got 10 questions right on William Pitt the Younger. Smart ass. Sorry, Clive, I got very angry then.
Oh, dear. So how do ice cream sellers feel about it all?
They're angry.
Yes.
And upset.
Yes.
They've got to sprinkle it on the top instead of sort of like there. Can I have a flake, please? No, you can't. Smart ass.
According to The Guardian, one owner said, you can't give someone a 99 with a broken flake. It's embarrassing for an ice cream man. Mate, you call Mr. Whippy. Why don't you just put a twirl in it?
Oh, yeah.
There are issues when it comes to the torque of the twirl, though. If you're biting into it, it stays solid.
So we found your mastermind subject, then. I knew we'd get there. What would be your special subject on Mastermind, Clive?
Well, it's interesting.
Getting fired.
Yeah. That could well be it. That could well be it. Sticking with ice cream news, why might it be difficult to find a Mr. Whippy in London this summer?
You, Les. I actually meant that.
Greenwich Council are set to vote on a ban of ice cream vans across a number of its parks. Now, a spokesperson told The Times that the vans cause unacceptable levels of nuisance. Must be all those happy children. And so to round 2, the picture spin quiz. Fingers on the buzzers, teams. Here's your first picture clue.
It's the last time Clive Myrie appeared on British
It is about numbers of people.
I think it's the perfect number of people for a dinner party, Clive.
Ah, you invite me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah.
Is it a conversation?
It's for a conversation, yeah. What happens then if 4 is the perfect number? What happens if it includes more than 4 people?
It breaks into other conversations.
Ah, yes. According to Professor Robin Dunbar, when social groups have 5 or more members, the chances of them laughing together plummets.
Oh.
Tell me about it. Going to you, Ian, what does the group do instead?
It breaks up into smaller, more boring conversations, and you get stuck with someone who's, oh, God. You can hear something interesting's happening over there, and you're going, oh, really? You've got a new dog? Oh, God.
Which well-known person hit on the fact that you don't want to have more than 4 people in a conversation? Well, Professor Dunbar argues that Shakespeare must have intuitively known about this phenomenon because it's rare for one of his plays to have more than 4 major characters speaking in one scene. Now, this is reportedly because he didn't want his audience to be cognitively overloaded. Something we don't care about on this show. What groups in particular shouldn't go above 4 members?
Boy bands.
You're on the right sort of plane, sort of. Surgical teams or SAS patrols?
That's the same as boy bands.
Why are people no longer interested in me or anything I do?
What, because you just went over the top earlier?
Yeah. Well, according to a study at Oxford University, in the last 6 years, the number of people taking a strong interest in the news has dropped by a quarter.
Oh, wow. I thought it was the name Clive. Oh. Hang on. What Clives do you know?
It is a dying name, yes.
Ian, give me 3 Clives.
You're going to say Clive of India. You know you want to say Clive of India. Just let yourself have it.
I was trying really hard not to go there.
We need to resurrect Clive now. So if you're conceiving now, call the child Clive.
Clive.
Yes.
Also, wait till the end of the show. That's disrespectful.
Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your 4 are Jeremy Clarkson, Lilliputians, an art gallery in Bristol, and Andrew Bedwell's boat.
Now, this is about sizes of things, isn't it? So, Jeremy Clarkson, he's on some sort of...
He's been taking Ozempic, which is the weight loss drug.
Weight loss
and
drug.
he has shrunk as a result.
He's shrunk as a result. So that's a very small boat, which is perhaps the world's smallest boat, although it does say Big Atlantic Challenge on the side. I would say that Gulliver's the odd one out because he's the only one that's not shrunk, although he is surrounded by little people.
The boat is small, and Lilliputians,
they're small.
Small.
Clarkson's small.
Getting smaller. So he's the one who started out big, whereas the rest of them were always small.
OK, you're all sort of close, but not quite there. OK, they're all very, very small, apart from Jeremy Clarkson.
Ah.
He got stuck in his car because he was too big. Yeah. You see, Helen, you were sort of there, but not quite there.
But in a way, close enough to get a point. In a way.
No.
Oh.
But, Clive, how is he bigger than a bridge?
It's not the bridge, it's an art gallery in Bristol.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, the bridge was misleading.
Yeah. I think the whole question is thoroughly misleading.
Yeah.
Clarkson got trapped in a Soviet-made Formula One car. Here he is wedged into the vehicle.
Oh.
Yeah. After getting stuck, he was heard asking producers, what do you want me to do, be less fat? Now, Andrew Bedwell's boat was very, very small. Very small. But what was he planning to do with it?
Go across the Atlantic, a big sea Atlantic challenge.
Yes, a bit of a giveaway there. Bedwell set off from Canada with a plan to reach Cornwall, 1,900 miles away, and 3 months later. Here's the route he planned to take. So let's see how far he got. Yeah.
It sunk, didn't it?
Yeah.
Or it took on water, rather.
That's right. It took him 3 years to build what was missing from his design.
A waterproof hull?
He told reporters that there was no poop deck. I bet there was eventually. In other news, what recently happened to two people sailing from Swansea to Devon?
Were they sailing in their own sort of private boat, or was it it wasn't a sort of cruise ship or anything? The Swansea to Devon route?
Well, it was last week, and it was two men crossing the Bristol Channel, and they had to be rescued from a sinking boat after sailing from Swansea to Devon to buy pasties. One of the sailors, Paul Hadfield, told Devon Live they'll often make the trip for the pasties because you just can't get anything like them in Swansea. According to the BBC, a wave came through the window and the boat began filling with water. Hadfield added for clarity, it was a bit snotty around Baggy, but we weren't horsing it. I've no idea. The Lilliputians are very, very small.
Yes.
Who were they based on?
English political figures.
That's right. That's right.
Who were considered to be pathetic, small creatures, stabbing each other in the back and committing felonies.
What's unusual about a very, very small art gallery in Bristol?
Isn't the gallery in a toilet?
That's right, in a toilet. Bit harsh on Bristol. I started at Radio Bristol, actually.
Any ambitions to go back there?
Yeah. And the community organisation, the People's Republic of Stokes Croft in Bristol, claim it's the world's smallest art gallery. And given it's in a toilet, what have they called it?
The Louvre.
Brilliant.
Yes, here's ITV News' local news report on it.
We're about to take you to what's been dubbed the world's smallest art gallery. So let's have a look inside this tiny toilet. Is anyone in there? Come on in. Thank you very much. Well, here we have Lisa, who's going to tell us all about how this arrived.
Wow. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, G-Fan, the magazine of the Godzilla Society. And we start with man in Falmouth pays £34 for Indian takeaway, but what?
I think I know this. Didn't it shut? He tried to order it and they said it would go through and then he turned up and there was the takeaway had closed all the doors or something.
Boom! Oh. Restaurants has closed down.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Absolutely right, Helen. Here is disgruntled takeaway customer Ian Grant. A man ordered a curry using a Cornish delivery app. I'm guessing Deliveroo.
Yeah. Well, there's BBC Cornwall gone. It's another nail in your coffin, Clive. Poof, you won't be working now. Like watching a flake crumble.
When teenagers watch big monster films, they say, cool stuff, that's kind of wicked. But adults...
That is such a Clive thing to say.
But adults tend to say...
Is this the Conservative Party conference?
The answer is impressive. A nightmare lurking in the depths of the ocean. It looks so realistic. How exactly did the filmmakers achieve that? Next, man decides to shut down his baked bean museum. What?
Because of high wind.
Says it was a terrible decision in hindsight.
You've got to stop watching YouTube, brother.
After someone nicks his bean. His bean's gone.
What?
What's nicked his bean? He didn't say it was a plentiful museum. Baked bean museum, there's the baked bean, that'll be £5. One bean, there we are. Well, I mean, there's no point having more than one. They all look the bloody same, don't they?
No. Man decides to shut down his baked bean museum to find true love.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this is Barry Kirk, who changed his name so he could be called Captain Beanie. Here he is.
Oh, my God.
He did try and diversify the museum to include alphabetti spaghetti, but that soon spelt disaster. BBC's Amal Rajan apologises after saying what instead of what.
BBC's Amal Rajan apologises after saying rancid bucket of quivering falsehoods instead of former Prime Minister.
BBC's Amal Rajan apologises after saying...
Seaweed.
Yes!
Seaweed?
But there's more. There's more instead of...
Lovely, green, biodiverse, lovely thing that isn't bad like seaweed.
Give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more.
Weed in the sea.
That's another thing altogether, isn't it?
All right.
Is it samphire?
Marine algae. Next, goat with 22-inch long ears, what?
Stands on his own lobes. Yeah, I know. You wouldn't want to do that, would you?
Still can't hear an apology from Boris.
The answer is wears hairband so it doesn't trip over them.
There we are.
Here is the goat with its long ears.
Ooh. Oh, blimey. Wow. It's a scarf.
And there is an added bonus. The ears can be used to tie the rest of the joint up in the roasting dish.
No. That's BBC Good Food gone.
And finally, man who lived underwater for 100 days finds what?
Wife has run off with the plumber.
Man who lived underwater for 100 days finds Nemo.
Is it Rebecca Vardy's mobile phone?
Oh. Well, he finds he has shrunk by ½ an inch.
Oh.
Which bit of him is he measuring?
Yeah, that's his own business. So, the final scores are Ian and Munya, you have 4 points. And Paul and Helen, 6 points.
Well done.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
The Archbishop of Canterbury on the right is saying, so I asked God to make my flake less crumbly.
What about, actually, I asked for a wafer? That was a joke just for you, Ian.
Yeah.
Just for you.
Man on left complains that faulty mirror makes him look like Archbishop of Canterbury.
Is it Ben and Jerry?
On which note, we say
so
thank you.
this bloke goes up to an ice cream man. And he says, can I have an ice cream, please? And the bloke says, crushed nuts. He says, no, laryngitis. There we are. Save it to the end. I could have done it earlier, but I've only just remembered it.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Munya Chawawa, Paul Merton and Helen Lewis. And I leave you with news that hopefuls begin training after the announcement that the classic TV show Supermarket Sweep will be doing a one-off cost of living special. On a secret volcanic island off the coast of Japan, Mrs. Blofeld arrives home to find her husband missing and screams coming from the shark tank. And in Plymouth, Tom Daly denies that his high-fat, low-protein diet has affected his metabolism. Good night.